Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. I'm Pinky Webb. Today on the program, 2 lawmakers push through with the distribution of the unregistered anti-parasitic drug Ivermectin in Quezon City. Advocates believe the drug is effective against COVID-19. But experts maintain there's not enough data to prove that Ivermectin is safe and effective against the virus. And the Justice Department is leaving it up to law enforcers whether or not to arrest lawmakers who handed out the drug. Anakalusugan Partylist representative and Ivermectin advocate Mike Defensor and health reform advocate Dr. Leachon join us live. Two lawmakers distribute capsules of Ivermectin, an unregistered drug. Experts maintain there's not enough proof to say it's safe and effective against COVID-19. Despite the risk, people still lined up and even agreed to free the doctors and organizations from any liability. Zian Arcangel has the details.
72-year-old Francisco Obligar walked for nearly 40 minutes from his home to Barangay Old Balara in Quezon City to get free Ivermectin capsules. The event was organized by Partylist lawmakers Mike Defensor and Rodante Marcoleta with help from Ivermectin advocates. Obligar believes the anti-parasitic drug is effective against COVID-19 even if it hasn't been registered with the FDA.
Kagaya nila Enrile, si Tito Sen Soto, kaya po, tsaka si Congressman Mike Defensor. Ako po talagang naniniwala rito.
Before Obligar got the capsules, he had to fill out a waiver stating that he voluntarily received Ivermectin. By signing the form, he also agreed to free the physician and organizers from any liability. The prescription was written on a blank sheet of paper instead of a document where the physician's name and license numbers are clearly indicated. But for Dr. Iggy Agbayani, one of the physicians present at the event, using a prescription pad wasn't necessary.
Ang prescription pad kasi, actually ano lang naman yan eh. It should be in the proper form. May date, may pangalan. Malinaw naman sa pasyente na doktor yung kausap. There's nothing illegal about it. Hindi po cheque ang prescription.
Defensor also insists the drug is safe.
Kung may problema, then makausap sila dito sa barangay, telemed, or makausap sa telepono. Kung hindi epektibo, di napurga ka. Kung epektibo, nasagip mo yung buhay.
The president of the Philippine Society for Microbiology and Infectious Diseases says there's still insufficient evidence to prove Ivermectin is effective against COVID-19. Dr. Marisa Alejandria notes 3 high-quality studies on Ivermectin showed it wasn't beneficial in reducing deaths and showing clinical improvements.
We are not preventing when there is insufficient evidence. It means you may or may not use it is your responsibility to explain to the patient the status of the evidence.
In a statement, Justice Secretary Minardo Guevara said the signing of a waiver doesn't extinguish any criminal liability, assuming it has been independently established. So far, the FDA has only granted a special permit for 5 hospitals to use Ivermectin in treating COVID-19 patients. Applications to register the drug for human use have not yet been approved. Zian Arcangel, CNN, Philippines.
The Department of Science and Technology plans to begin Ivermectin clinical trials at quarantine facilities in Metro Manila this May. Let's go straight to the source of the story. First off, we have health reform advocate Dr. Leachon. Dr. Leachon, welcome to the source and maraming salamat po sa inyong oras. Umpisahan ko na po, Doc. So, do you see anything wrong? Kayo ho ba ay nangangamba or do you approve ito pong pagbibigay ni Congressman Mike Defensor at Congressman Marcoleta ng Ivermectin sa ilang mga residente sa Quezon City?
Hindi ma-monitor yung adverse events ng mga pasyenteng pagbibigyan ng Ivermectin sa Matandang Balara sa Quezon City. Yan ang isa sa context na dapat nating isipin kasi the approval of the FDA ay sa dalawang bagay. It is basically on a compassionate use in 5 private hospitals. That's number one. And of course, compounded in licensed pharmacies with doctor's prescription. Ang concern ko lang dyan, number one, it should be used in the context of a clinical trial and in the hospitals. And it is not in the hospital. And therefore, how can we monitor the adverse events related to the giving or distribution of that particular compound? The other one is the compounded in licensed pharmacies. We don't know the quality standards of the pharmacies na need for this particular indication. And I think these particular 2 exceptions na ginawa ng FDA has weakened its position. Kasi originally, the FDA did not, of course, grant a certificate of product registration because it's still waiting for the results of randomized controlled trials, yung mga regulatory documents, para siya ma-formally ma-prescribe ng mga doktor. So basically, it's an unregistered product, and the reason for its distribution is for the 2 exceptions
Na, Doc Tony, it seems that it appears naman that na-fulfill yung isang kinakailangang gawin. Yung sinabi ho kasi ng FDA, tama ho kayo, yung compassionate use granted to 5 hospitals. Okay, tabi na po natin yan. Pero yung isa ho kasi sabi nila, as long as you have a prescription and as long as it is done by a compounding pharmacy, then that fulfills the other approval of FDA. Hindi ho ba? Klaro po tayo doon.
That's correct. Correct.
Okay. But you're saying though, even with that, you were saying a while ago that that weakens the position of the FDA. So I wanted to ask you, para ho ba sa inyo malinaw o hindi yung posisyon ng FDA on Ivermectin?
The Department of Health and the FDA and even the World Health Organization that the use of Ivermectin should only be used in the context of a clinical trial. And apparently, I was really surprised because the compassionate use permit or special permit dinistribute in a basketball court in Matandang Balara. So medyo dapat controlled yun eh. In fact, pagka ganyan, merong kang protocol, you check the vital signs, the demographics and history, and then may follow through ka ng mga pasyente yan just in case meron kang adverse events eh. So that is my main problem kasi ang compassionate use for the information of the public, you only use a particular drug when all other options are not available. But apparently there are other options even on home care like steroids or blood thinners that can also be used eh. Kaya lang to parang nakita ko widespread na yung distribution with the limited approval in 5 hospitals.
Right. Pero I still have to go back to what the FDA said. Sabi nila, as long as meron kang prescription, number 1. At as long as gawin sa isang compounding pharmacy, okay po yun. Those 2 elements, na-fulfill ho ba yun para po sa inyo dito sa pag-distribute sa Old Balara, sa Quezon City? Because there were doctors, there were chinek po sila at meron din pong binigay na waiver and all that. Now, there was a process. Pero yung dalawa hubang sinabi ng FDA for you, na-fulfill ni Congressman Mike Defensor at Congressman Marcoleta, kasama po ng mga doktor doon.
Unproven pa yung medications po based on randomized control studies na sinasubmit po sa FDA, efficacy and safety, para mag-grant po siya ng certificate of product registration kasi mayroong ongoing clinical trials abroad na hinihintay natin. Ang concern ko lang ho, dito natin based on the na sufficient evidence right now.
Yeah.
Also, based on the researchers, these two exceptions are being like, justified.
Doc- Dr. Leachon, you're not coming in clearly, no? The signal isn't very good, so I'm missing a number of things that you're actually saying. So if we can try again, what is your biggest concern about this distribution in Quezon City, sir?
Yeah. Can you hear me, Pinky?
Opo, pero sometimes you're coming in and out, sir.
Okay. Ulitin ko lang, Pinky. I
Okay.
think based on the FDA exemptions, I think na-fulfill naman nila. Ang concern ko lang kasi, the studies are not yet out to prove really its
Opo.
efficacy and safety. So ang problema ko
Opo.
dito, they are actually prescribing a medication na hindi pa tayo sure about the efficacy and safety and the monitoring. The other paper na kung lang mabuti about the potential side effects to the patients, kasi ang problema natin dito, wag naman masamain, we might be exploiting the lack of education and ignorance of the people on the particular
Okay.
about the potential side effects.
Ako. Okay, Dr. Leachon, I'm sorry, but we're really having a hard time listening. I'm having a hard time listening to you. I'm not sure if the problem is coming from your end or my end, no? But I just want to ask one question. I hope we can get this in. Yun pong pagbigay ng prescription, di ba yun ang isang element na sinabi ng FDA na kailangan, you need a prescription, number one. And then kailangan may compounding pharmacy. Yung nakita niyo hubang prescription na ibinigay ng ilang mga doktor doon sa Old Balaras, Quezon City, would that suffice? Kasi meron pong questions na walang pangalan, walang signature, or yung dosage po, lahat 15 milligrams. Yung po kasing pangalan at PRC license number, are those important to be able to prescribe this medicine?
Kailangan tamang
Nako. Dr. Leachon, apologies, no? We really do not have a good connection with you, so there's a lot of parts that we don't understand. So anyway, we got some parts already earlier. Dr. Tony Leachon, we'd like to thank you for your time, sir. Maraming salamat po sa inyong oras. You're still watching The Source on CNN Philippines. After the break, we're going to speak to Anakalusugan Partylist representative and Ivermectin advocate, Mike Defensor. We will be right back. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. I'm Pinky Webb. Let's now speak to Anakalusugan Partylist representative and Ivermectin advocate, Congressman Mike Defensor. Sir, good morning to you and welcome to The Source.
Yes, Pinky, good morning, and to all the viewers, magandang umaga po sa inyo lahat.
So namigay na ho kayo nung Ivermectin kahapon kasama si Congressman Marcoleta. Sir, ilan ho bang individuals yung nabigyan kahapon? And how many Ivermectins yung in total na ibigay kahapon?
Supposedly kahapon was a symbolic event. We were supposed to just have 35. Kaso ang nangyari nga, yung mga media na nag-cover and also yung barangay staff, they were also asking for Ivermectin. So, kinausap ko yung mga doktor if they can accommodate. So, okay naman. More or less mga 200 individuals, households basically, were given Ivermectin.
And in total, ilang pills po ang naipamigay ninyo?
That's about 2,000.
2,000 capsules.
Capsules, yes. 10 for
Okay.
each of the participants, yes.
Okay, Congressman, please tell us the process by which these individuals had to go through.
Well, first of all, we had them sign a parang parang information sheet, no? Because initially, ang ginagawa kasi namin dun sa isang website namin in Malayang, Quezon City, is that we have that posted and then they sign up for to avail to have access to ivermectin. So these are given to the doctors. So kahapon naman, we had the forms, tapos tama-tama naman nandun yung mga doctors, and they had, in fact, dun yung medyo natagalan kami kasi talagang matagal yung naging consultation nila with each and every patient. And as I've said, because dumagdag na nga yung mga tao, you had the barangay staff, you had the media there who also lined up, medyo natagalan kami ng konti. But that's the process. From there, they get the prescription, then they go to another table, which is very near, about 15 meters away, and then they get their ivermectin capsule. So yung mga forms na yun, we submit it naman dun sa compounding laboratory. This is in part of the process as prescribed by the FDA and in two committee hearings, which we agreed to, na compounding muna and then prescription. Of course, Pinky, again, I would insist na talaga magkaroon ng mass distribution dahil ako wala naman ako nakikitang problema for it to be distributed without prescription para dun sa mga kababayan natin, in which they're doing it all over the world.
But if you're such an advocate of ivermectin, no, Congressman Defensor, bakit ho sila pinagpirma ng waiver? If you're very sure about this.
Well, ang thinking ko kasi, Pinky, when we were working on that, all the COVID-19 medications and drugs all have waivers. So parang feeling ko, bakit hindi kailangan magkaroon ng waiver for ivermectin, number one. Number two, I have to be assured na baka mamaya merong mga magsabotahe. You know, there's so much movement to kill ivermectin, to kill the supply in the market. Talagang pinapatay nila. In fact, hindi naman magkakaroon ng hearing kung hindi nila sinara kagad yung mga compounding laboratories, no? And of course, Dr. Landrito was producing at that time. Kaya ito rin yung isang bagay to protect ivermectin itself. Pero as to adverse effect, I'm not worried. As to repercussion, if there will be incidents in the future, hindi ako nag-aalala. Imagine, Pinky, 40 years na to. In fact, nagamit na to 40 years. Yung remdesivir na 1 year lang, mas marami pa siyang adverse events kesa dun sa ivermectin na almost 40 years na ginagamit. Pagdating dun sa deaths, 2020, remdesivir, ilan na yung namatay? Sa ivermectin since 1992-16, sa remdesivir, just in 2020, when they're using it as experimental drug, siguro na sa mga 600 people na already died because of it.
Yeah, but are you assured that they died because of remdesivir? Because from my research, sir, hindi ho ba ang remdesivir is allowed EUA by the US FDA? And ivermectin is not.
In the US, it is allowed under EUA. Pero dito sa atin, it is compassionate special permit.
Right.
Pagdating sa US, you're allowed to prescribe ivermectin. Dito sa atin, ayaw nila na mag-prescribe ang mga doktor ng ivermectin.
Kasi nga daw, Congressman, kulang pa yung clinical trials or hindi pa nag-uumpisa dito, which will start in May and possibly could take 6 months. But I want to go back to what you said earlier. No? I need to clarify that. Sabi mo, hindi naman ho kayo natatakot pero baka masabotahe, magkaroon ng problema doon sa pag-manufacture ng ivermectin. But why can't you do, why a waiver? I need to go to that. Kasi kung kayo namigay doon sa old bara, pwede namang hindi nyo napapirmahin ng waiver kasi sigurado naman po kayo doon sa compounding pharmacy na gumawa ng ivermectin that you distributed, hindi ho ba?
No, Pinky, I just want to put in context. Kaya may waiver, not because of the manufacturing. Kaya may waiver kasi baka mamaya gagawa sila ng paraan to stop ivermectin. They come up with a case and they file it against ivermectin again to be stopped in the market. Now, let me clarify. Sinabi mo yung remdesivir, hindi pinapayagan ang ivermectin, ay hindi. That's not, it's different. Remdesivir, sabi ng WHO, hindi pwede. And yet, we're using it here. Ang ivermectin, sabi ng WHO, pwede, hindi pa to proven, i-trial muna natin. So between the two, yung ivermectin pa talaga ang should be submitted to a trial. Remdesivir, wala na. And in fact, Pinky, ang dami namin case dito, yung prices nga ng remdesivir, doble-doble. But this is already part of the WHO trial and they said hindi pwede. So you can see, no, pagka you put it in context, grabe yung pang-ipit nila sa ivermectin. Now, I'm going back to the point on the waiver. Kapon nga sinasabi, bakit may waiver dito? Well, bakit yung lahat ng gamot may waiver for COVID-19 because it's all under investigational drug? Pagdating naman sa ivermectin, gusto mo walang waiver. I'm just being fair. I mean, put it in context. But, again, what I'm saying is, ang waiver na yan was part of the process when if they sign up to avail of and access for ivermectin. And number two, and which is the more critical for me, is that pag ginawa na naman nila ng kwento ang ivermectin, can you imagine someone comes up with a case and says, oh, may problema tong ivermectin, therefore magkaroon tayo ng injunction, wag niyong pabayaan sa market yan. And I understand Dr. Leachon is already saying that. Dapat itigil ang ivermectin sa market. Why? It is safe. Number one, is there any doctor who's saying it's not safe? Wala. Wala akong narinig. Pinky, yung mga nagsasabing experts na yan, we invited them several times in the committee hearings.
Congress.
With the experts. Yes, with the experts of those advocating for ivermectin, both local. Si Dr. Cory even attested to the Committee on Health hearings. And then another one on good government. Parati silang absent. I mean, how can they now talk outside of Congress when that is the official records where policies are made of what we should do in the health program in attacking COVID and stopping the spread of the virus?
Kong Mike, hindi ho ba kayo kahit papano nangangamba with the fact that, kasi di ba kapag pinag-uusapan po mga gamot, kailangan evidence-based medicine po yan. You have the Philippine Medical Association, you have the Philippine College of Surgery not endorsing ivermectin. Yung FDA nga po, sabi lang, compassionate use. Tapos sige, kapag meron kang prescription at merong compounding pharmacy, pwede yan. But the WHO is not recommending it just yet. The US FDA is also not recommending it. The European Medicine Association is also not recommending ivermectin. To some, Congressman, it's all anecdotes. Ito pong bisa ng ivermectin. So babalik ko po yung tanong ko, kahit paano ho ba, wala ho ba kayong kaba na baka delikado po ito?
Okay, Pinky, again, let's be fair. Wala naman talagang gamot sa COVID-19. Lahat ng gamot na pinag-uusapan nila are all investigational. No one has come up with a cure and said, oh, ito na yung cure natin, ito na yung protocol. Now, babalik ako dun sa tanong mo, yung remdesivir nagtataka ako. Sabi ng WHO, hindi pwede. Bakit dito ginagamit pa rin? Sabi lang, hindi. Guidelines pa rin to. We're working on it. O sige, napakamahal niyang gamot na yan. Etong WHO, ang sabi ng WHO, ito ay pinag-aaralan pa namin. Bakit itong sinasabi ng WHO pinag-aaralan pa namin, ayaw nating pag-aralan pa rin dito? Now, in perspective of policymaker, if you see and you look at the studies of the different countries, Uttar Pradesh in India, the state of Uttar Pradesh in India, yung maraming bansa sa Peru, yung nangyari sa Chiapas, Mexico, ngayon yung South Africa, inadapt na to. Yung nangyari sa Slovakia, and other countries, no? Bakit hindi nila tingnan kung bakit ka bumabagsak, no? Hindi natin pag-aralan what is happening there. They're using ivermectin and the numbers are going down. Hindi naman to usapin ng statistika lang. Namamatay na yung mga tao. Wala naman tayong proven drug. This is a very safe drug for 40 years. Now, I'll go back to the Philippine scenario. Sa US, sinasabi nila, okay, hindi pa namin ini-endorse to. But they're allowing the doctors to prescribe. And you know, Pinky, the doctors who are prescribing this are the ones in the front line. Sila talaga yung lumalaban na nanggagamot sa critical care, sa ICU. Sila yung mga pulmonary. So parang ang point ko, but itong mga doktor na to, sila yung talaga nanggagamot. You know, Dr. Varo, 95% ang kanyang rate of improvement sa kanyang mga pasyente. Napapagaling na talaga may COVID. Sila Dr. Cory, pulmonologist, head ng kanilang yung mga emergency care nila. So, wala naman talagang cure eh. Bakit itong murang gamot na pwedeng magamit ng Pilipino, ayaw din lang pag-aralan? Diyan din ako nagsasalita sa Philippine Medical Association. Bakit nila tinatakot yung mga doktor nila? Sinasabi nila hindi pwede. And you know, Pinky, I don't want to say the names, no? But there are cabinet officials already drinking ivermectin. Children of cabinet officials who were saved by ivermectin. So marami na talaga nagkikwento at nagsasabi. And para sa akin, dapat bigyan natin ng chance to.
Hindi naman po siguro, no, to be fair, Congressman, hindi naman nagkulang yung mga anecdotes gaya na sinabi ko kanina na it worked for some people. Ano po. But there's also that flip side that says that you could have taken ivermectin compounded with other medicine and you're not sure, in fact, if it was the ivermectin that worked or the other medicine. Would you agree with that, sir?
Oh, definitely. Because Pinky, ang ivermectin naman, if you read the literature on that and all the statements coming from the doctors themselves, Dr. Lori of the UK, sila Dr. Cory, even our local doctors. Ang concept naman ng ivermectin is hindi niya papabayaan na pumasok or hindi siya kumapit no, sa mga cells natin yung virus. And number 2, wag siya mag-replicate. But the doctors are still saying you have to strengthen your immunity because the immunity, siya na yung papatay dun sa
Fights
virus.
off
Ito,
the
Pinky,
virus.
nakakapagtaka. Yes. Ito, Pinky, nakakapagtaka. You read the guidelines of the Department of Health, the living guidelines. Nakalagay dun sa kanila. Hindi nila recommended ang vitamin C. Hindi nila recommended ang zinc. Hindi nila recommended ang vitamin D. Hindi nila gusto yung melatonin. All the things that the doctors in the US, those in critical care. Kaya kung sinasabing doctors in the US, kasi sila na yung gumamit ng ivermectin eh. Sila na yung nakita ng formula dahil dito nga ayaw payagan yung mga doctors natin. Kaya yung comparison to Partylist,
So if the doctors in the US,
protocol.
Kong Mike, if the doctors in the US are using this, bakit hindi pa siya binigyan ng EUA ng US FDA?
No, it's allowed. It can be used. In fact, pinapayagan na nga sa US kahit outpatient ka. They can already prescribe, uminom ka twice a month, uminom ka once a week. It's allowed. Dito sa atin, it's not being allowed. At yun yung point ko rin sa ating mga kasama sa Philippine Medical Association. Kasi nangyari dyan, sabi ni FDA, to be fair with Yusek Domingo, sabi ni Yusek Domingo, oh no, it's okay. You can do off-label and you can prescribe as long as it's coming from a compounding. Tapos, tinanong ko yung PRC, Philippine Regulation Commission ng mga doctors. Sabi ko kay Dr. Dalmacion, ma'am, sabi ko, ito ba, pwede na mag-prescribe ang mga doktor? Sabi niya, hindi pa rin. There's still a chance that their license will be revoked kasi yung Philippine Medical Association came out with the guidelines. So para sabi ko, bakit ganun? And remember, Pinky, it didn't start from PMA. It started from DOH. DOH were the ones who said, pag binigyan nyo ng prescription ang ivermectin, we will revoke your license.
All right. Okay. Very quickly, no, please, 1 minute left. Yung prescription, there are questions on the prescription. You'll see it online. Walang pangalan o kaya yung meron naman pong dosage, no, but I'll talk about that if I have time later. Pero parang hindi kompleto po. Yung pad, ano lang po, parang blank paper na sinulatan, tapos yung iba wala pong pangalan or may signature na hindi maintindihan. Can you address that, please?
Yes, I think, Pinky, it's a non-issue. I saw it already, no, it's coming out but it's a non-issue basically because you have only 4 doctors. 4 na doktor lang naman yun eh. 4 na tables, alam mo naman yung signature nila. Hindi naman yung prescription ay pupunta sa butika, but it's a nearby table that they go to at ibibigay nila. Some of them also got the numbers of the doctors kung meron silang further questions.
Yeah, but why is there no name? Why is there no name, sir?
Well, ang nangyari kasi dyan, when they came in, walang nadala ng prescription yung mga doktor. So sabi lang, just give us paper and we were here. And later on, the registration will happen. But ang may talaga kami. So, Pinky, basically what I'm saying is, yung prescription ng hawak nila, 4 na doktor lang yan, may kanya-kanyang pirma, and it's identifiable. So I don't think it's a problem, and these are all medical and licensed doctors. And of course, we were the ones who organized it with them. And easily, they can identify who the doctors are if need be.
Okay, I have so many other questions pero wala na pong oras. Buwan, mabilis lang po. Yung dosage lahat po ba 15 milligrams? Kasi hindi ho ba this would also depend on the weight of the individual?
You're correct, Pinky, on the weight of the individual. So kung medyo mas mabigat ka, you'll drink a heavier dosage. Pero like normally, it's just 15 milligrams for 2 weeks. Pero alam mo, Pinky, recently, just last night, I think, nagbago na ng protocol sila. They want it once a week. I think it's because of the new variants coming in.
Okay.
They want everybody to drink it once every 7 days.
Kong Mike, unfortunately, naubusan na po tayo ng oras. I hope we can discuss this again. But maraming salamat po sa inyong oras. Congressman Mike Defensor.
Thank you
for joining us here on The Source. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines.